Hello all. We will discuss, we will learn about C language today, and there are a lot of things that we can talk about C. Let's start with introduction. So C was designed and developed by Dennis Ritchie in 1972. Ritchie. Uh, Correct me for any spelling mistake, or you can correct by yourself. Main thing here is to understand, and you can Google it. All right. So by it was designed and developed by Dennis Ritchie in 1972 in USA. This information you can find. This is just for introduction purpose. You can find this in Google also. So we and the another thing that in it is introduction. Another thing we can, it was previously when in the very beginning in early days, C was written in many different it has many versions. So due to this different version, if you write program on one computer, you cannot port that program to another computer. So there was some dependency due to the computer architecture. So and the compiler also used to be different for different version. So it was decided, it was agreed that we can have one common compiler which is called NCC. However, it took a lot of time to come to an agreement for having standard C language. So it was, but after 5 or 6 years, it was agreed to have one common standard, which was called NCC. NCC stands for American National Standard Institute. All right, so it is a committee had defined once and for all standard C language. All right, like I said, it took about 6 years for defining the C language. So that is about okay. So this is for introduction. So we will come to the program later on. Let's first have the background preface that how this language was evolved and how it came into use. So that is one thing. Then we should also understand about the beginning, how the C program evolved. So to talk about that, we should know the machine language was there in the very machine language was there in the very beginning. Machine language. Machine language, it is like it's a binary language. Binary language means either it is 0 or it is 1. So machine language, it's written in binary. Its advantage is it runs very fast, execution time is very less, but it is very difficult to write. For the programmer, it is difficult to write because you can think about it when you have to explain, you have to write something in 0 or 1. It is very difficult. So it is, so that is why it was they came to the another called another language that which was designed and developed. That language is called assembly language. Assembly language, it's close to machine language, but it is like an English language, so it was easier than machine language. It's close to machine language. It is close to machine language is because assembly language also, it depends. When you are writing program in assembly language, you should know the register and the architecture of the computer on which you are writing the program in assembly. Okay, so you have to, it's close to machine language, so you need to know the architecture and of registry of computer to write program in assembly language. Now, for machine language, for program that we write in machine language, we don't need to have any mediator. We can directly, it is an executable program, it's in binary language, so you can directly run it on machine. Run on the machine, on the computer. Machine means computer. On the computer. Assembly language, since it is a written in English language, so we need to have some kind of translator or mediator. So that we call called assembler. Assembler is required to translate the program into binary language. Binary language is also called object code or executable code. There are different terminology we use, but all are same. Machine language, assembly language. So this is also close to what you should before you write the program, you should bother about the architecture and registry. So this is so that's why there are two category of programming language: low level language and high level language. So machine language and assembly language comes under the category of low level language. Then we have high level language. High level language. There are many programming language comes under this category, high level language. One of them is C. Then we have Fortran. Then we have Basic, etc., etc. So we will mainly focus on C. So C is high level language. Now earlier we discussed about ANSI. So standard also we have ANSI. So in this one we need to have compiler. There are before we talk about compiler, let's talk about translator. As we have discussed, translator is like a mediator between your source program, the language in which we write the program, and the machine code. So we need to have translator. There are three types of translator. We have three types: compiler. No, before we say, let's first say assembler. Assembler, as we know now, assembler to convert assembly program into binary machine language. Okay. Where then we have compiler. Yes, compiler. Compiler has two things to do. First, once you write the program in C language, and then we go to run. So before we run, we need to compile the program. So compiler, what it does is, first it will check your program for any syntax error. If there is any syntax error in the program, it will report, and it will tell you about all the errors that it checks. So it reports syntax error. Once there is no syntax error, once you correct all the errors, or in the first go itself, if there is no error compiler finds in your program, it can directly then run it. But before run, there is still something it does is, first let me write what it does is syntax error. Then it let me report syntax error. Then it does linking with the library function. We will discuss about library function later in the course. First, like there are many pre-built, pre-inbuilt function that C provides us to use. So we do, like, suppose if you want to print something through our program, then we don't need to write the program for printing. We only have to use the inbuilt function. Its name is printf. So it will print it for you. You don't need to bother about how it gets printed. So program is written for printing. So you just have to use that function. But the function has to be written somewhere. The programs has to be written for that function to work. So that those programs are linked. When we use the function in our program, that function, the program, underlying program for that function is also written somewhere. So compiler link those program into our program before program gets executed. So that step or that process is called linking with the library function, and then comes running the program. Then third type of translator is interpreter. However, as per my knowledge, it is not much in use, but it is also another type. When the things were getting developed, interpreter was also created. See, it is reporting about interpreter. So what is the difference between compiler and interpreter is it reads the program line by line, and produce the machine code respectively for each line. Okay, this is what. So in our course C that we are discussing, it is a compiler. It uses compiler. It uses compiler. Now we will talk about the structure. What is the typical structure of the C program? Okay. There are going to be many things that we will discuss, we will learn throughout the course. It is just the first class. For any spelling mistake or any grammatical language in my speaking, please excuse me for that. You can put a comment if something you don't understand or something that you want me to improve. You can put all those things in your comment. So structure, and now we are talking about structure of C program. The first thing that we should do is header file. Header file, like whatever the like I told about is about the inbuilt function. So all the inbuilt functions are written in header file. Okay, and it like I said, compiler does the linking process. So linking, what it does is it links our program to the library file where the functions are written. The program for the functions are written. So that is library file. So library files is bit low level thing. First is header file. So under one header file there can be many library. Okay, so we have to declare to inform the compiler that what all the function we are going to use. According to that, we will indicate those header files. The first thing in our program is to write the header file, means declaration of the file that we are going from which we are going to use those functions. Okay, there are many header files. We will talk about them later in the course. For now, just we can understand the first thing that we need to declare is header file. Then we have to declare the global variable. We will also talk about what is called variable. First, we will talk about what is called variable, and then we will discuss global variable and local variable. For now, just you can understand in just like this a global variable. So any variable that we are going to use in more than one function, in multiple functions, and then those variables has is scope becomes across the functions. So those type of variables are called global variable. So it is not local to one function, it is used in multiple functions. So those type of variable we should declare here in the second as a second thing in the program. And if we don't have global variable, we can just skip it. We don't need to declare anything here. Okay, it is only when required. There is a global variable. Then we have main function. Main function is also keyword. Compiler understand it. It may sounds to you that it is our own word. Yes, it is our own word, but it is also used by the compiler, meaning that it is a means reserve word, means which compiler can only use it. It is not for our means we if you want to declare, if you want to create a function with this name, it's not we can't do that. If you want to declare any variable with this name main, we can't do that. So that's why it is called reserved word, means it is reserved for the compiler to use. We are not supposed to use for our own purpose. It is we have to use only where to indicate. It is like a part of the structure of the program. You have to write it in every program. There should be main function. So we have to declare this main function like this here, and then it starts the main function in this way, open curly braces. Then where we are closing it, we should close the main function in this way, open braces, open curly braces, and then close curly braces. All right. Third thing, structure we have understood. Under this main there can be multiple function. We will talk about that. Main itself is a function, and but it is a function that is understood by the compiler, that the compiler uses it, where we can have our own function which we call user defined function. We as an user can define our own function. We will talk about that, and that those function can be inside this main function. Like we have, if we have our own function func1, let's suppose func1, you can put it like we have created main function. We can also create our own function in this way, but here the name is our own. We have defined our own name. All right, and we can open and then we can close. We can have multiple function like this. Func1, I have created one another function. I can create func2. Likewise, we can create many functions. All right. Now in main function, the main function that she understand, that is reserved by the compiler. We can declare main function in multiple ways. One we have seen here, main. It is a is a typical way to write the main function. We can also write main function in this way. Int main. Int stand for integer. That means we are indicating that this main function will return integer as an output. Then we have void main, meaning that we are indicating that this void means nothing. Main function will not return anything. Then there is another way to write main function is void main. Inside the braces we can again write void here. Here it means is, like we know about this void is when there is nothing, main is going to return, we have to write main here. Here also we have written main. What it means here is this main function is not going to take any argument. Okay, if we don't write anything inside this braces, that means there is nothing we are going to give as an argument to the main function. But when we write, we are explicitly saying that yes, we are not going to return any, we are not going to give any argument to main function as an argument. These are the way we can create, we can like another way, like there is one more way that how we can declare main function is int main, then here we can say void. All right, sorry. Void. So you can understand by yourself also that we are trying to say here the main is going to return integer, but it is not going to take anything as an input or as an argument. Okay, these are the way how we can declare main function. Now let's talk about rules. Means some rules that we need to keep in our mind while we are writing any program. The first thing is we should have one main function in each program. Without this, program will not get executed. That is one thing, that is the first rule. We should have one main function. We should have a main function in the program. Second thing is second rule. You can say is a golden rule that we should always keep in the mind when we write the program. Then there is semicolon. This is like a character that we can see on the keyboard. This is to indicate that each line of program in C language is terminated by this symbol. So it's a symbol of termination. All right, that is about semicolon. This tells the compiler that program is going to this line, this particular set of instruction or line in programming. In program, each line is also called instruction, like instruction to the computer what it has to do. So each instruction has to be terminated by semicolon. These are a symbol that to indicate to the compiler that this line is getting terminated here, this line is ending here, this instruction is ending here. Okay, that is a semicolon. Another rule is that program C understand lowercase. So everything we write in the program, whether it is an inbuilt function or it is our own function, or so we have to use we have to write in lowercase. Uppercase is also used. Uppercase is used when we are declaring any constant. We know we have now just talked about, we haven't talked about variable in length in detail. Whatever that we have discussed about variable, that we have mentioned, I mentioned about the variable. There's something called variable in the program, and likewise we like it varies. One that is value gets changed, it's variable, it's vary, okay, according to the requirement. Then another thing is opposite to this variable, we have constant, which gets constant, which is constant throughout the execution of the program. So constant is the thing that we need to write in the uppercase. Constant has to be written, and that's how computer will or compiler will understand this is computer, this is a constant, this is not variable. Constant is written in uppercase. Another rule is blank space. Blank space, we can put blank space in between the words to for more readability, for understandability purpose. We can put blank space within the word. Suppose if you want to print something, then we can write print. It is also like a function. So where is it print f. Okay, so here we can say in double quotes hello, and then blank space will put. So C does allow us to use blank space. It is for the readability and understandability purpose. If we don't use it, so it will be one word which it becomes difficult to understand that it is hello world, right? So for readability purpose, we need to use blank space, and C allows us to do that. So we can use like this. So guys, this is from the introduction. There may be few more things that we will talk in the introduction perspective, and we will talk more about the program. We'll go into detail in the next class. Thanks for listening to me patiently, and if you have any comments to improve, or if you find any mistakes, you can always reach to me. You can put your comment in the comment section. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.